changing lives.
Every individual has a story. Stories of social issues such as infertility.
You did not marry your wife only because she's going to give you a child. You married because you loved her. Whatever comes on your plate, you're ready to accept that.
Abuse, obesity, life struggles, and others can be very frustrating. That is why Real Talk is back again with another exciting season where individuals like you can come into our studio or join us virtually to share your story and experience. To share your story, you can reach us through our WhatsApp number at 0559 680 066, or you can email us at hoptvghana@gmail.com. We say don't lock them away. If you ignore them, they can just get angrier and louder.
Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening and welcome back to the Law Chamber. Here we discuss legal matters and any matter that has to do with your rights, with your responsibilities as a citizen of Ghana. We are here to discuss that. We went for a short break. Depending on how you look at it, it can either be short or long. But I went for a break around December and we are back to continue with season 2. So today we have season 2, episode 8. As we did the last time, we'll be ending it with episode 10. So we'll go for a break before, another break before we come for the season 3. Before we went for that short break, we were discussing tenancy and landlord, you know, that relationship. So the last time we looked at it from the perspective of the landlord. Today we are going to look at from the perspective of the tenant. From the perspective of the tenant. So if you are a tenant, the question is, what rights do you have? What are your responsibilities? Because rights goes with responsibilities. And so welcome back. Sit down, relax, and let's enjoy ourselves. You know, it can be a very intellectual discussion, but I also want us to have fun a bit, as I say. So just relax and let's have this discussion. So I have 3 powerful people, 3 powerful people to have this discussion with, and let me start. Let me start from the first male. So I have Mr. Frederick Opoku. Mr. Frederick Opoku is a Secretary General. What's a brofono? When you're Secretary or a Secretary General. Secretary General of the National Tenants Union of Ghana, NATUC. NATAC. Obeka National Tenants Union of Ghana. Do you know that tenants, you have a union? You had no idea. And can you know comment even put that? He is into gender and housing rights. He has practiced in this area of advocacy for over 15 years. Frederick.
Anita.
Natuk and Natak. Naeti Eugene.
Sure. It depends on how you want to pronounce it, but I really prefer
Natak.
Maybe you want to do the pronunciation and say Natuk.
Natak.
The most important is National Tenant Union of Ghana. That's what the most
So
important.
Natak. It's almost slangy. You're Ghana.
So,
But I've never heard of this association until.
Yes, we've been there for quite a long time. I would say we've been advocating since 2012. Muhammad's time we were there. All of them come and go, we're there. But we realized that housing is a systemic issue. And to deal with housing is better you deal with the policymakers behind the scenes. And when they don't listen, then you come out. And since 2 years, 3 years now, we have gone behind the scenes, talking to them from Bambabin to what's the name of Speaker? Bambabin to Atachia, to Asensu Boachi. My best minister ever, yeah. Very listening minister. And I really want to, out of all the ministers that have come and gone, Asensu Boachi seems to be a listening minister.
But is he an implementing minister? You listen and you don't do...
I think a lot of things are in the offing, and I think as far as I'm concerned, the Tenant of Ghana has been calling for the review of the rent law for the past 10 years. Our able minister is pushing it hard, and this year it's gone to Parliament, passed through cabinets, and very soon this year we expect we're going to help him to get it passed. 2, the National Housing Authority. We expect this in over time. If you visit the National Housing Policy, that was launched in 2015 under John Mohammed's time. It was stated clearly that to revolutionize the housing system, there is the need for you to look at National Housing Authority so that you take it from the building of the houses from the ministry. The ministry ought to do the policy, and we have to have the builders. So the National Housing Authority is going to be an authority housing where government will now pump money to build it. That is when we talk about affordability of housing. They have to build.
When I hear affordability of housing, I don't want to hear.
No, I'm not talking about government poor affordability housing.
So that's going to be worse.
I am going to explain further to you why I don't agree
we'll come back.
that it's not affordable.
We'll come back.
Yes.
We'll come back because in Ghana, when I hear affordability in terms of housing, I go like we are not part. It's the ministers.
Yes.
Okay, so that was Natak. So we have Mr. Frederick here. He's going to help us. You've already heard him. And then I have the only lady amongst them, Emma Jean McKains. Emma is a lawyer with over 7 years of experience. She is the managing partner of McCain and Associates. It's a law firm. She is a member of the International Bar Association, and she's mostly involved in corporate affairs, immigration, real estate. So you know, her real passion is in real estate, and so there she has a certificate. She's a certified green estate professional. She's a member of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers in the U.S., and she's also a board member of the Rental Housing Association of Ghana. Another association, Rental Housing Association of Ghana. Hey, she's the CEO of Kandu Solutions Group. You've heard of that group, and she has a background in psychology, so you know that she's going to psychologize us, Abby. But Rental Housing Association of Ghana, which group is that?
We just launched the association in December. And we launched this association to actually bring all the real estate professionals together to enforce especially those laws that we have hanging, and we don't have anyone to really, to educate people on it and to collaborate with the government officials, all these things. So we decided to come together to educate people, to collaborate with government officials like the rent control, and even our man Frederick is also part, so that we can advocate for the right things to be done.
Maybe I'm not getting it. It's about landlord, tenant, obia. You see, someone has built their building and someone wants to rent. These two parties are going to do their thing. Right now we have so many associations and so many groups and so many Emma,
it is necessary.
As if we have so many laws, so many groups, but nothing seems to be working.
Yes, that's why this one has come. And we are here to stay. Yes, it's going to work. It's going to work.
That's a good one. So my last person, by all means, you know my last person, Mr. Emmanuel Ove Bozu. And that's Bakani.
Oh, you need some okra stew.
You know that thing? I do. I want okra.
So the name is Bosu.
Bosu.
Yeah.
But it's Ove.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's no, you said the X is silent.
Yeah.
So I'm not such a bad student.
Oh, you are good.
He is the head of public relations at the rent control department. So he was here the last time, so he's quite familiar. So if you say the PR, the head of PR, it is you are the spokesperson for rent control department. He's also a rent officer and he's a chartered arbitrator. And that position is very key because to bring two people together, you have to be able to arbitrate them. Rent control. Today too, I'm telling you, the building where your building is and people have to climb and go up. It's disability friendly.
That's right. That's
What
right.
are you
It's just a temporary place we are
How long have
occupying
you
now.
been there?
Over 3 years.
Temporary
Our
3 years.
building, no, our building is not finished. Okay, the construction is not finished. We are trying to remodel our Greater Accra and the regional office, but the no money syndrome is affecting us. But we'll move soon. We've reached roofing level, so very soon we'll move out. Okay.
We're here. We trust. We trust it will happen. So today you realize that we have a very special guest with us, right? He is Atta Nyameche. He's a sign language interpreter, and he's a sign language interpreter for the Bible Society of Ghana. We are trying to make it a little bit disability friendly. You see, kakra. Oh, so now Mr. Basuka and Skeni, but small. We hope that we will be able to. And I'll have to thank a very special person. He really brought attention to it. He was like, "This program you're always doing, it's a nice program, but what about deaf? They're not supposed to be called deaf.
Physically challenged.
Physically challenged in terms of the ears, right? So
no, physically challenged in general. You just don't specify, please. I just physically
yes, so we are so grateful, sir. We are so grateful. And Emma, your daughter is 13th birthday today.
I know. I have a teenager now.
and it's remember baby for you.
Debbie.
Huh?
Debbie, I better call me now.
All right. So let's zoom in. So Ima, give us a general summary of what we discussed the last time in respect to, for the perspective of the landlord, just in less than 2 minutes.
Okay. So just to summarize, we have something we call rent cut. Okay. Rent cut is CART. It's an acronym, and that's a key responsibility of any landlord. The C there is the rent card that every landlord within 7 days after the signing of the tenancy agreement, you have to issue this card to your tenants. So it's mandatory. If you go contrary to that, you can be sanctioned by the rent magistrate. And the A, which is very key, is the tenancy agreement. That comes before any other thing, because you have to issue this to the tenant for the tenants to read, understand, and sign before even you collect the rent advance. So if you look at section 4 of the rent control law, it says after the signing of this tenancy agreement, you, the landlord, have to lodge a copy at the rent control department. The purpose of it is for us to go through and make sure you are not going to infringe on somebody's human right. Your clauses are in line with all our constitution or all our laws in the country. The third one, which is the R, is the receipt of payment. So that any payment in connection with the rent, immediately the law demands that you have to issue the person with the receipt. If you don't have any official receipt, you can just pick a paper, just write the details of what transaction has gone on. Later, you can issue the person with the official receipt. And the last T is the rent tax, which you have to pay on any rent advance you collect from anybody. Within 30 days after collecting the rent advance, you just have to walk peacefully to the Ghana Revenue Authority and make sure you fulfill your statutory obligation. Okay, it's because we have to gather these taxes and then use it to develop our country. So these are the 4 basic rights of any, let me call it responsibilities, because if you flout that, there should be sanctions.
It
shouldn't be your right. There are responsibilities that you have to fulfill.
So what are some of the rights of the landlord?
Your right is, when you want to give your premises out, you have right to come to the rent control department and apply for what we call assessment. So that assessment to determine how much rent should be charged. And we do
and that's
this.
Right.
Yeah, it's your right, because after that you have right.
You are restricting me because I could have charged 50,000 when I can't use assessment. I should charge 2,000.
No, it's your right because you can give the property out or not. Okay, so if you decide not to give your property out for rent, then that should be all right, because if you decide not to do it, nobody can just come on you.
Hey,
okay. And again, after the assessment has been done, you have the right to demand for the assessment certificate, which will determine or we indicate in the amount that you have to charge for a period. We have to talk about the demand for more than the 6 months rent. Okay, it's a right because you have the right to charge monthly, but the maximum should be 6 months.
And that's a right.
It's your right because you like.
But now I'm charging 2 years and you say it's my right.
Yeah,
to charge
so if you charge over the 6 months, then that's where the sanctions will come. If somebody reports
too many rules that at the end of the day, no one wants to build and rent it out.
No, we've realized this, and so the review of the law, we're considering the interests of both landlords and tenants.
Okay.
So now we are increasing it if it's agreed that it will go to 1 year. That 1 year means that tenants who opt to pay more than the 6 months will have the opportunity. So the landlord, in recruiting their investment, can also have, if not long term, at least some period that they can recruit, so that they can build more to assist government in this affordable that you don't want to hear, or the social housing that Mr. Opoku has been preaching about, so that we put everybody's interest on board and then encourage them to invest more in the real estate business.
Yeah, very. So let me come to you. Tell us, okay, let's start from here. First, who is a tenant? What are some of the rights of the tenant? And
okay, simply put, I would define a tenant to be any individual person who pays for an accommodation, okay, periodically, you know, just to use it for accommodation as residents, you know. The difference is you have to pay for it, rent. That's the underlying word, rent. If you pay rent, we have commercial tenants and you have individual tenants. You have those that they rent for stores, shops, and what have you, and we have the residential, but they all operate under the same rent law.
Okay.
Because we're a tenant.
Okay.
Whether you're a commercial tenant or whatever, the law applies.
Okay.
But maybe if you're in a public housing, that one, it doesn't go there. But if it's about private individual, bargaining between private entity and whatever you're using it for, it's rent. So you pay for rent to secure a place to lay your head and to, you know, keep your home secured and your family on terms of security. 4 walls.
So, ordinarily, do you think such a person should have rights? And if you do, what are some of the rights you're looking at?
Differently. You have to be fair to them. For example, the fact that somebody rents, people must understand the reason why people rent. Presumably, people mistake, I don't know how to situate it. Like if you rent, you're a poor man. If you build, you are okay, one more bra. I mean, I know I'm renting. This kind of, but they must understand that we have mobility of labor. People rent for reasons. Assuming, say, you are from Ashanti region, you've been transferred to Greater Accra for 3 years. Are you going to build? That is why you need to respect the views of people who rent, and that the landlords must all the time respect the views of people who rent. Or if somebody comes to, you know, ask you for a place to, you know, rent, you should all the time respect the views of the person and do not assume that the person has actually failed in life. That is what they think. Like, go and build it, you can't build it and blah, blah, blah. But they should rather look at it from the angle of we are trading. It's a business. And there are rules in the business. You must, you know. So your right definitely will be treating with mutual respect. As they demand it from you, you have to respect them. And the respect will, it has some divergent kind of links. If you want to respect somebody, then your tenancy, there are rules. You have a tenancy. Basically, if you're going to rent a home, the first thing you must consider is your rents and your tenancy agreement, rather. And what is in that tenancy agreement matters.
Okay.
Your rights will be there.
Don't
do this. Don't go here. Don't do that. Don't pass here. Don't cook here.
You can't
don't
come home at 9 o'clock.
Because people do not take tenancy agreement into consideration. But holistically, demand and supply place.
Yeah.
Because you are so desperate to secure a place to lay your head. So when you go to a landlord and you really, it's 1,000 Ghana cedis, it's 100 Ghana cedis a month, give me 3 years. Give me 2 years. If you don't take it, somebody takes it. And they don't even give them that tenancy agreement. That is where the issue is. What will be your right? It will be unfair and inhumane to capture something in a rent agreement that supposedly makes you feel like you are undermining the freedom of the person. And that is why we believe that when you are putting together a tenancy agreement, it should be humane. Because that's why legal practitioners will want to look at it. The legality of your tenancy agreement matters. So if you talk about your rights are many. But you need to ensure that whatever they do to you that will be against your human should not be allowed. So I do not really want to, it's a very broad subject.
It's quite broad.
So if you say your right is in your agreement, don't do A.
That would be restricted. That would be a responsibility. Okay.
So that right that you have need to be protected because you're a human being. It's your right to demand certain things from the landlord, right? The landlord, for example, we have rented apartments, and when I came in, they're having some defects somewhere, and in these defects, you are expected to maintain it. You are supposed to add or improve. It's my right to demand from you to do that many a time, because there's no tenancy agreement. It's not there. He said it's not responsible. Okay, so improvement, and also whenever you use your money to invest into a property, that presumably must be a consent between the landlord and you, and the time comes you want to take the tenant, it must be given to you.
Okay.
2, if you are living or the person who calls the shot, I don't need you in my house again. Leave. When I'm going, it is my right that I demand any improvement I have made, I will consented.
Okay.
Yes, because for example, here we have.
So let's say, for example, that there's a house and there's no toiletry, and then we come to an agreement that I'm going to build the toiletry. So if I build the toiletry, I can either take it out of my rent for the next period, or when I'm leaving, you recompensate me, you give me back my money for that.
But there's a caveat.
Okay.
The caveat is consent.
Consent. That's what I said. Consent.
Because you can't alter somebody else's property without seeking consent.
So let's say the what needs to be done is essential. So the landlord says maybe the bathroom is leaking and the smell is bad, it's coming into your bedroom, it's spoiling your things. The landlord says, why don't you wait, give me 2 weeks, 3 months, the landlord is not in. Do you still have to wait for that consent? And if you go ahead and do it, are you saying that you're throwing your money away?
Most likely that's what happens. You throw away your money, but you can enforce your rights. That's why you have that agreement.
So it means that if you are a landlord or you are a tenant, make sure there's an agreement.
Exactly, it's very essential. It's very essential.
Right. So, and for me, what we are doing here is an education. It's a serious education that we that renting. I'm the leader of renters in this country. And that I would also all the time let them understand that it is important, is that rent or that money you are paying is equally important as the agreement you are picking. Because in fact, you become so hollow. You become so vulnerable. Because, you know, the landlord can tell you anything, because if they go to rent control, the rent control will ask you, Mr. Posu will ask you, what is the agreement? And the landlords are clever. They are clever. And because they want to put you into that situation, it is not there. But it also boils down to Mr. Posu and their team. That I don't blame them anyway. I've been blaming them all the time, but I will just temper justice with mercy.
No, please don't.
I will temper justice with mercy. And the truth is that rent control ought to be doing certain things that they don't. And that is killing renters in this country. But I don't blame them, because it's l'argent, it's money. Because they are irresourced. In fact, rent control has nothing. That's why sometimes when I said I praise my minister. But when I had the opportunity to, I bash my minister. Because my minister is responsible, ensuring that rent control is resourced. No vehicle. In fact, they were even using typewriters. Quite recently.
Yes.
So shameful.
Still not quite.
I'm not going to go there.
No, even that is still important. When lights goes off,
yes.
Okay, these are manual things. We can't say because there are no lights, there are no generators working, so we won't save it. So, despite the fact that we are logistically challenged, there are certain things that. But let's go.
Let's go back.
Let's go
let's talk about responsibilities of the tenant. So that we know their rights. They should ensure that they have agreements. All those rights are in those agreements. If they pay monies in respect to buildings, they can recoup it if there's consent. What's some of their duties
of a tenant?
Yes,
is to pay your rent. You have to pay your rent, pay your utilities, ensure that you stick to all your obligations under your contract. You don't go out of it. And one thing let me just go off a little bit. One thing I wanted to say was, you have the right to negotiate your tenancy agreements. Okay. And people need to know this. It tells you, listen, I want you to pay me 2 years up front. You tell them, okay, I can pay you 1 year. And then in 6 months, I'll pay you another year. Or he tells you, I don't bring anybody after 9. You tell them, listen, I work somewhere, I will get back at 10. So this cannot work for me. So you keep going back and forth until you get to your middle ground.
So the fact that the landlord says that this, it doesn't mean you have to agree.
No, you don't have to agree.
But if you also come back and go back for your MFA,
no, it's the way you negotiate. You can't just get up and say, hey, master. No, you tell him, Papa, you know this. We have to do it like this. We have to do it like this, and people respond to you pleading, or to you're not pleading, but you are negotiating with humility, because at the end of the day there's a housing deficit. Yes. The landlord is extremely powerful because they have a higher bargaining power. I think that's what their new the reform bill seeks to address, that a high-handedness of landlords. But that's just what I wanted to say.
Anita, let me quickly just get in.
Sure.
You see, the law stipulates clearly in section 25, subsection 5, that it is offensive. It is illegal. It cannot be, accepted if landlord takes exceeding 6 months, right? The question that this is a very good grounds I want to maybe quickly throw to you to I can't directly.
No, please, you can.
Is this
it's allowed?
Rent control is responsible to ensuring that landlord do not charge this.
Yes.
Let's assume all things being equal, that you were not there when an agreement was made, and when there comes misunderstanding between the landlord and the tenant, and they come to you, are you supposed to entertain the landlord? In the first place, one, the person is about law. You are lawyers.
He has broken the law. How can you benefit?
Why do you
benefit from the law? That's come with clean hands.
Is that not so?
It's actually that's one of our mantra.
No, the point is that he coming has soiled his hand. Why do you go ahead to entertain that person? Whether he was not educated.
That's what. Why do you entertain him? The landlord has broken.
They even entertain and adjudicate in their favor.
No, Anita, we started this discussion before the show. because you were so desperate, you've gone behind rent control and paying 5 years rent advance. Okay? And you expect rent control to do what?
Okay,
But-
let me come to your defense a bit.
see,
Let me
yes.
come to your defense
Leader.
a bit. Because frankly speaking, yes, the law exists. But we can also contract and aside the law. So if the law says that I can't pay 2 years, and I have agreed,
Waive my
accepted
rights, yeah.
with the landlord that I'll pay 5 years, it means I have waived my rights.
Look,
No,
Emma, Anita, let us, we should, Ghana, we don't do research.
Okay.
And whatever we do, even policymakers, when they bring policy, they just bring the policy because they don't have any background reason why they bring policies.
Okay.
They sit down as cabinets. Go there, 20 people go and sit at Jubilee House. With the president sitting down there as the chairman of the cabinet. I'm coming. And no, don't fear. I'm saying that we have cabinets.
Okay.
And cabinets, if they are 30,
Yes.
they are not wiser than all of us in this country.
No, they can't be.
Exactly. It's a fact. And we are saying that whenever there's an issue of that sort, there is a need for it to be talked. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you come to like the rent control,
Yeah.
if you ask rent control, it's a law that is a law. But whenever they even give ruling, they use the same rent at 220, then conclude that or rent regulation 1964 or PNDC law 138 1986. They are the three things that they will use to
Conclude.
they are the three laws: regulation, rent control act, the rent control law. 3. And here is the case that a law says this. For me, I find it very difficult to understand why rent control will be, because how many people know about rent control? That's the question I want to ask.
Anita, let me
How
cut
many
you.
people?
Let me come in. Let me come in.
Let me cut you.
Okay.
Let me. I didn't want.
Right now, let me come in.
No, I didn't want to do this.
I'm taking control of my studio.
No, I didn't want to do this, but
I've taken
for the
control.
first time.
No, I've taken control. Emma, you wanted to talk.
Yes, I was saying that it is true that you can waive your rights under a contract, your statutory rights. I mean, if he's saying, I need this place desperately, so okay, I'm willing to waive my rights, because if I go and report this man right now, he will say, okay, I don't want to rent it to you. But my issue is that if you know that you have done the wrong thing, and in the end we have some misunderstanding as to what as to our positions under the law, and we come to you rent control, I'm expecting that when you get there, they will say, are you supposed to be doing this?
Yes.
Why did you do it?
Ask.
You know?
Okay.
And when you do that, you put them on their toes.
Okay, so
You put landlords
you let
on
them
their
know what the
toes.
law is, and then you agree that yes, there's a contractual agreement, but that's what the law says. Rent control, you don't
No,
do that.
Anita,
Yes.
I didn't want to do this, and I've never done this
Oh, you
anywhere
do.
before.
Where I told you do.
The law under Section 25, okay, for the purpose of education,
Of course.
and for the purpose of the lawyers and the judges and the magistrates.
Obi
It
Afane
says
there.
any person who has a condition of right of a grant, renewal or continuancy of a tenancy demands, not collect, demands. In a case of a monthly or short tenancy, the payment in advance or more than a month's rent. In a case of a tenancy exceeding 6 months, the payment in advance for more than 6 months' rent shall be guilty of an offense.
Okay.
The word there is demand. If I'm a landlord and I've not demanded more than 6 months rent advance from you, that's what the law is saying. So if I'm a tenant and I come in and I told you I'll pay 2 years, will you hold the landlord of any offense?
No, but they demand.
No, yeah, so that's the issue. If they don't demand,
You see,
at that point, no, I'm not
let's
going
be
to
fair. Let's be fair,
Yes,
Mr.
yeah.
to Mr. Agbosu. Let's be
Yes.
fair to Mr. Agbosu. Frankly speaking, at the end of the day, how do you prove demand?
Exactly.
Because it's your word against mine at the end of the day. The landlord is saying that I asked for 2 years. You say you pay. I asked. I didn't demand.
Even that. I can't willingly that I want to pay 5 years.
No.
No, you go to Lorry Station.
Let's talk about this thing very well.
Let's see. That's why I said I've never seen that this anywhere.
Let me finish, Mr. Frederick.
Let's go to the trotro station. Let me give a very clear example.
Okay.
People have bought vehicles, right, for commercial purposes. We have GPR2U like rent control. They regulate certain fares and whatever you. Now, can you buy your vehicle, take it to a station, and want to charge what you want to charge?
Mr. Boku,
no.
If you are not part of the union, if you are not part of the union, you can't go to the station.
No, wait, Mr. Mekoso. Let's catch parables. All things remaining constant. There is nobody. We have a station. Let's situate it. No.
That's different comparison. You can't do this comparison.
We have GPR to you.
Okay.
No, wait. We have GPR to you. Anyone running or applying this along the road, is not regulated, right? But under normal circumstance, to check road safety and what have you, we check you from your station. I'm talking from the legal perspective. Not somebody who buy car vehicle and want to start moving on the road and what thing. We have GPR to you.
It's an association.
No, but the
you wish to join.
Let me speak. This rent control, we don't join. The moment we decide to go into any kind of tenancy agreement, automatically we are governed by the rent control.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is, okay, how do you enforce your 6 months when it's like you want people to charge 6 months? That's what you want. But how would you enforce it now?
Emma,
you should have proof.
The law is clear.
The name of the game is proof.
The law is clear.
You want to really show that the landlord demanded
exactly.
You should get the proof.
That's it.
Anita, where you are going?
Okay,
education.
Mr. Boko.
I am telling you that 98% of Ghanaians don't even know a rent control exists.
No.
I'm coming. Wait.
That's aside. Fine.
I'm telling you.
I think that's why we are here to do some education.
If you put 10 people here on this table, 8 or 9 will say that they don't even know rent control.
Okay, so if you don't know rent control, it's a whole department. Where if you have issues with your landlord or your tenant, you take the person there, and they'll resolve the matter for you. You see. So if you don't agree with anything or they are throwing out of your house anything, please, it's rent control. Okay.
I still want Mr. Posu to tell us how they are enforcing
I'm feeling bad
this 6 months. How are you enforcing the 6 months?
Emma,
because as far as I'm concerned, it's not being enforced. It's like it's a norm.
They say
it's a norm. The norm is to pay 2 years.
Demand and supply.
Oh, you're lucky 1 year. Me, I was extremely lucky. My landlord was like 1 month. Okay, I could do that. But if he has said, okay, pay me 2 years, I know I need the place. I need to run my business. What am I going to do? I'll tell him, okay, if I run and come to rent control and say, oh, this man is charging me 2 years instead of the 6 months, that's it.
You don't get it.
I'm not getting it. So there should be an assumption.
But the rent control to can't force the landlord to give
so what I'm trying to say is that there should be a presumption that if you have paid 2 years, there is a demand. Do you understand? So let it be rebuttable. Yes, let them come and rebut that we didn't.
But that one will not be fair on the landlord.
Yeah, what we've been preaching.
He's his house. He has a higher bargaining power.
Okay, I have a question here. Somebody is asking a question.
Yes.
You there? I'll give you chance. Okay, don't worry. I'll not let them do this to you. Okay, so it's a very long one.
Yeah.
But Stella, to summarize it, she's saying that she rented a store. She had the things in the store, and then one day she voluntarily told the landlord that she might travel. Then the landlord said, if you are traveling, then take your things out of the store. And he said, I'm not traveling now, but still the landlord said, take your things out of the store. She really didn't mind the landlord. She came back and she realized that all her goods had been taken out of the store and it's in the landlord's house. Okay. Then she said, okay, then she's going to release the store anyways. So they should give her back her money. And then the goods she was selling, they should give it back. And she did a lot of cupboards, those stalls in there. Then the landlord says, someone says they will buy it. So she said, okay. Up to today, nothing had been done. No, her things, no. The things he had done in the store and the other places, no one has paid. So she went to the police station, and the police said this is a contractual agreement. But she was thinking that theft had come in because it's my things, and you came in and took everything without my consent. So theft has come in, and now it's going back and forth. The landlord is refusing to pay, give her the things, her goods, because he's, from what she's heard, it's been sold. The one who has taken over the store too has closed the store, and she can't go in there, and now she's in a limbo.
Okay.
Do you think rent control can handle this, or it should be?
Yeah, it falls squarely in the domain of rent control. The issue about the belongings, okay, you know, under section 17, okay, if you make your intention to the landlord that I'm going to vacate the place, the landlord in turn will start advertising. Okay, so under that section, you've committed yourself already. So that aside, there should be a refund, because if your tenancy has not expired and you still have some period of time to stay there, the landlord should be able to refund the money to you. So this falls squarely in there. And then the issue about the improvement and then the fixing of the shelves and those things. If it's agreed that the things can be sold, and it is being sold, then so the money should come to her.
If she brings such a case to rent control, how long will it take? Because she's looking at the timelines. How long do you think it will take for you to resolve this matter?
No, normally,
for her to get her money.
Normally, maximum of 3 sittings. So averagely 2 sittings. Because if you come for the first time and we need evidence, we will send you back to bring those things. And after that, we will just take and then adjudicate and then give judgment.
So if you give judgment, can you enforce it?
No, it's enforcement will give recommendation for the landlord to. If it doesn't apply, we just go to the magistrate. We go to the magistrate, and then with our recommendation, the magistrate.
Oh, okay, so the court will be the one to enforce it.
Can I step in?
You can come.
Yes, I'll be going for a short commercial break. So. Emma, yes.
I want everybody here, everybody listening to us understand. Rent control has its remedy, okay? That's where beyond a particular level they can go.
Okay.
When rent control takes a decision, it's just recommendation. It's just a recommendation. It's just a recommendation.
Okay.
It can only be enforced by the court of competent jurisdiction.
Okay.
And people should understand that rent control should not be like a kai to anybody.
So at the end of the day, rent control is not. It's a
Let me go and clarify his issue here.
Yeah, the issue is that we work together with the magistrate.
First and foremost,
we work together with the magistrate for
Actually, I have 4 questions here.
Okay.
Can Emma talk and go for my short commercial break and then come back?
I don't think she's falling within the bracket of she's told the man she has an intention to vacate and he can advertise. She said, I might be traveling. She didn't say, I am traveling at this time, so you have a right to. No, so
that's where we do the investigation. So I said it fall within the bracket of rent control.
Honestly, to me,
because we do investigation.
I will even go to rent control. I will go straight to court and go and enforce my.
She went to the police, and the police said,
the court is the starting process for us to do our investigation and then give recommendations.
Confidence in rent control
or whatever. I will just go straight with my rates.
Let's do a research.
I want my money back.
No, let's do a research, Anita.
No, the police is out of this in the first place.
Rent control.
Why not? Because I'm thinking they're stealing. Because they are my goods.
You didn't. If it's an agreement, you've agreed with the landlord.
I don't agree that you should come and take my goods.
On so many occasions.
Okay.
They won't agree.
Okay. So to summarize, Niaka so far and say, uti obi fia na nche so yakoa. What I say? Uti obi fia, say nipa no bu na so bu no. Na ukote obi fie kra na agreement bi wo ho ake say mo tro say obetime ewe untimi nye we obetime ewe untimi nye obetime say sa paper bi eni ho a kasa nyama na meaning say landlord wo ho kra obetime ka say opia 6 o'clock one bada me lock me gate and I made me cram my be chase and now to me for ba me fie and obi metimi meda overnight no cry be ka ho asem inti eya ma weninda ho na say o baby so e for rent control department or regions ni mu say landlord ni ye bibi and also who ye be against landlord no be intimidated ko honom on beka mo asema mamo the dead but tawantawa ye ka yen jintu me say I say rent control no ye can we are obe advice o but oni sa to me say obeka say by force say just court na ko ba court na be boa no ama na ye nti enko for this short commercial break. We'll be right back.
By the grace of God, I'm beginning a new series which by His grace I have captioned, Hear, O ye child of God. God is always faithful, so we must remain faithful even when we don't feel His faithfulness. When the Bible says that love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength, what does that mean? I will begin to present it in the next series, and we will know how to do that. What does a wholehearted love for God looks like? I'm very sure that in this series, God will enlighten you, and you will be a blessing generator unto yourself and unto others.
Soldier of the Cross, showing this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Welcome back. Trust me, it's been heated here. And I ask some Ketua. I'm going by my questions.
Yes.
So I'm moving to the next question. So in a nutshell, you are telling me that rent control might pasa the case. Oh, so the person should go straight to court. Yes. Emma, is that what you are saying?
Yeah.
Listen, me, what I can say is, I don't like long things. If I can enforce my contract in court, I will go straight to court. However, if I ever felt that I would get a speedy, enforcement of an action from rent control, I will quickly go there. So maybe if it's in terms of I want to extend my client's tenancy for some 3 months whilst they find a place, I will go to rent control. But when I'm talking about hardcore, I want recovery of sums, I feel like you have abrogated the contract and therefore I want punitive measures, I want compensation, I will go straight to court.
Nita, there is a substantive case that I've been following critically. In fact, rent control is a mess.
Oh, Fred.
I'm coming. You see, the head of the rent control, Truman Poffo, which I'm mentioning his name here, he's a lawyer, Esquire, okay?
I hope it's not my senior that you're going to.
No, you see, fairness, they treat the rent control as a backyard negotiations. Backyard negotiations. They are not fair to the system. I'm saying it with reasons. And wherever I'm called, in fact, I have even petitioned the minister for housing that the leader of rent control must be removed.
Are we coming to do
Mr. Ampofuchum ought to be removed.
So is that why we are here?
The reason I'm saying this because fairness, if I am representing tenants in this country, right? I give solidarity. A lot of cases, I follow them to rent control and sit in the case. Me, if I'm handling your matter, I'm there. Because I have read these laws back and forth, upside down. And what they are interpreting, I know I'm like them. Maybe there are some technicalities that they may be because of their experience, no? But if you come to the interpretation of their law, but the way, this case I'm talking about, the way the chief rent officer handle the matter against the tenant, as we speak, we are going to court. The Monday 23rd, the case will be called. Based on that, I know section 24 of the regulation 1964 allows the Minister for Housing to come in and throw or put aside the case when it's been adjudicated. And I have actually signaled the minister, according to the law, here gives you the power. Step in and just quash the decision of the rent control. Because the way they have treated the tenant is not fair. I'm hoping the minister looks into it properly and get it done. But rent control, they deal with poor people who don't have money. When issues
and the landlord have their money and they have the back end.
Anita, let me step in a little bit for our first question, Stella, because I want her to find a solution to her problem. Now, let me tell her that she needs to find out if the landlord's right to re-entry accrued. If the right to re-entry did not accrue, then that's a criminal offense actually.
Trespassing.
He didn't have the right to do that. So she should follow it. She should follow up. Get a lawyer. She should go to court.
Okay, so we have Moses Ebo Eshon. He says, we are watching. Madam, forget rent control. Nothing they get. Come on. That means if rent control is that powerless, that means we made them so.
Government made them so.
Who is we?
We are government.
No.
All right, there's another question. There's another question here, and it's quite straightforward. Her time was up. She wanted a little bit of time to get another place. She came back and she realized that the landlord and the sons had just taken all her things outside. They've just threw her things outside.
No, these are criminal.
Yes.
This is the duty of the police. You just report to the police.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even when your tenancy expires and you are still in the premises, you become a statutory tenant.
Okay.
So you can't just be evicted like that. There's a process. Yes. And Mr. Posu will definitely tell you from 7, you go through that process if you want to go to that area. Sometimes
really? So you'll be there for 3 months and then more. They don't have a room, then you stay. The tenants now.
Oh no! So you have to enforce and get that person out the right way. You can't just enter and remove. No.
It's not easy to remove tenant like that to anytime.
No. By Ghana it is.
It is not.
No. On paper it is not. In practice it is.
No. We have made things so. If a tenant forcefully ejects you, you have the right to report to the authorities.
Which authority?
Okay, the police is there if you forcefully eject me and take my things out.
I was expecting you to say rent control. Don't let them.
No. We have our limit. If there are criminal offenses, we don't deal with criminal offenses. You go to the police. So if you come and then you look at my things outside, it's not a rent control issue. Okay.
So Belinda Atakwachowa says she's loving what we are doing. Stella Ivina, I hope I've gotten the name right. She loves your dress.
Oh, thank you.
Who can it dress? All right, so my time. So let me go to the next question. So Lydia Latte Adama is saying that what we are talking about it's theory. What I was saying, it's theory. That theoretically, the landlord can't sack you. The landlord can't force you to make improvements in the house. That yearly rent, ground rent, you are forced to pay and all that. Ordinarily, you are not supposed to. But the landlord
property rates is what she's talking about.
So what happens?
No, in determination of the rent, we factor in all rates, including the property rate. So if I've given you my property and you are there alone, and I'm supposed to pay the ground rate or the property rate, I factor it into the rent. So that what you pay indirectly, you are paying. So these are the issues, indirectly, because I'm not there. The property belongs to me, and you are dwelling in there. So you pay it indirectly.
Let me say this. I think the reason why we are having shows like this is to let people know that you have rights and you can really enforce it. Don't think that it's in theory. It's not in theory. You can enforce it. I know some people who have made landlords' lives very miserable. So it's very enforceable. So So when you listen to these shows, get to know, educate yourself on what your rights are. For instance, there's a presumption that the landlord pays property rates, the tenant pays utilities. You pay your everyday residents, owners association, those things. But property rate is for the landlord. So if you pay your rent, you have to. You don't even assume these days. Ask him, this rent I'm paying, is the property rate in there? If he says no, say so are you taking it out? Have a discussion. Negotiate your tenancy agreements. Don't think that he just come and give you something and you must sign it. That's not how it works. It's a contract. You are binding yourself for how long? About 2-3 years.
Anita, you mentioned of cut, right? Tax and what have you component. As he ever, as a rent officer, somebody a landlord brings a case. That's the obligation of the landlord. Have you paid your tax?
No, Mr.
I'm asking a question.
No,
why you must not detain them when they bring the show?
That's for tax clearance.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Because you must pay it. Because any amount you take,
Frederick,
you must pay
you're asking a direct question.
Yes.
Let him answer.
No,
Mr.
there are institutions that are responsible for everything.
The cut means what?
No,
the cut you said it means
no, under the Income Tax Act. Yes, let me explain to you. Under the Income Tax Act.
No, I said the cuts. Rent cuts. We said
rent card is an acronym.
Which you use?
Okay, which is the rent card?
Used by who?
Yes, I'm explaining to you.
Okay, relax.
We have the rent card.
Legal issue.
No, listen.
Let me push Mr. Kusu for look.
Let me explain. You've asked your question.
You hold on with the question.
You've asked your question.
You said you started with the rent cards.
Frederick.
Give me a minute.
Frederick, relax for me.
Okay.
You've asked your question.
All right. So what does cut mean?
Cut means the card, the rent card,
yes,
the tenancy agreement, receipt, and rent tax.
Okay. So when the landlord comes to you and there's an issue, do you ensure that all these things are there?
We do caution them. But what I'm saying is that the responsibility of somebody not paying his or a tax don't on Ghana Revenue Authority.
You must not detain a person.
No, Mr. Boko, you have to understand certain things.
Mr. Posu,
yes.
What stops rent control? You have come to us. Okay, you file your paperwork. Bring your tax clearance to let's see.
Simple.
And that's enough for you to go back and go and pay your tax.
No, because
of course,
it's the responsibility of the GRA
government
to enforce that. It's not our duty to enforce that.
I'm looking at it from where they are looking at it from this angle. That if you are bringing a case before us and we are being funded by the state, where GRA is the one going to get the money for us, and so when you are coming to me that you want me to adjudicate a case for you, I want to be sure that your obligations are
we do act. That's what I'm saying. We act.
I think he cautioned.
We do caution.
All right. So my final words. Final words under a minute. Let me start with Frederick because we had the last time. Yes, Frederick. Your final words.
What we are saying.
No. Let me ask you a last question before final. So when someone comes to you with a matter, do you charge the person? Does the person pay any fees?
Currently, there's been a review of the fees and charges. Okay, 2022, where you pay for filing fee. Then again,
how much are we looking at?
And
so we look at the amount.
No, I can't sit here and mention. We have, based on the case you bring, based on the cases you bring.
And the highest, give me a range.
You pay as much as a month's rent.
Okay, and as high as?
No, that's the highest.
That's the highest.
You can pay as low as 6 cedis.
Okay.
Based on the
so
case
6
that
to
you
the
bring.
1 month's rent.
Somebody pays $1,000 a month.
That's
you can take $1,000.
Of course.
Okay. Anyway,
Frederick, your final word.
No, but dollar equivalent. Let me be cautious about the equivalent.
Anyway.
But they shouldn't even be taking the dollars in first place. So if they come to you, you should prevent it.
Of the economy, you see. Anyway,
no, Anita,
I wanted to be very...
Because of him,
final word.
Because of him, I brought this. It's in a case at rent control. And they've been publishing.
You're not worrying our interpreter too much.
No, let me just...
Hey, but
it's been publishing that rent control is be aiding the collection of dollars. Because of this case, Because of him, I brought this.
Which one?
This is the case he's talking about.
I hope you are not worried.
So you brought it. Okay,
look at the red mark.
Yes. Let me look. Frederick,
look at the red mark.
Okay.
Just the red mark.
Responded therefore to settle 10,500 CD equivalent to complainant with immediate effect being. So we understand that you are saying that
we don't aid,
but it shouldn't be there in the first place.
What shouldn't be there?
CD equivalent.
The woman paid
that is my point. That is my point.
Mr. Boko, let me have
it. She paid $4,500.
To who?
When the landlord was paying.
Let me have my document.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy that you bought this.
Let me have my document.
When you tell me CD equivalent, it means I can charge you in dollars, but pay me
less than a minute.
My final word
is not fair.
We believe that we are educating. So what we have said here today, we have to understand that tenancy agreement is prime.
Okay.
So if we are going to rent a property, it is important to take into consideration, one, have I received my tenancy agreement?
Okay.
That is where you'll be hanged and killed.
Okay.
They'll hang you and kill you.
Okay.
As you are rushing to pay, no tenancy agreement, you'll be hanged. So if the landlord tells you, tomorrow, say now, money in hand, you take your agreement. Give and take.
Okay.
It's a give and take.
Okay.
Because that is where he will now pave way and treat you badly.
Okay.
Don't cook here, don't do these things here, on the agreement.
Right.
So make sure you see, if it's not there, he can't tell you do A or B or C.
All right, Frederick, thank you. All right. So, imagine.
Yes, what I want people to know is that they have rights. Don't think it's a theory. It works. I've seen it work. I have used it myself. So, I mean, people should just take the time to educate themselves and they will know exactly where to go and how to go about it. Or you can always just get your lawyer and it's very simple.
How much will you charge? Generally, an average case?
No, it's every lawyer and their charges.
So how much will you charge?
No, there's no need for me to reflect my charges.
Mr. Person, your final words.
Okay, we didn't have the chance to talk about the Ghana Housing Authority.
Yes.
Okay, so just a summary. The objective of that authority is to operationalize the government housing policy through strategies and programs to organize public housing development and to exercise regulation oversight over the activities of the real estate developers. And then to just sum up again, the three key responsibilities of any tenant. One, not to owe any landlord a month's rent. Secondly, not to use the premises for immoral and illegal purposes.
Okay.
And thirdly, not to cause nuisance and annoyance.
Okay.
If you flout any of this, the landlord can stand on, come to rent control for eviction. But what I want to add to Emma's point is that if you know your right and you stand on it, the other person or the other persons will do the right thing.
Thank you.
I will summarize it.
So, thank you so much for being with us. I hope that if you've not learned anything, you've learned that as a tenant, you have a right. And as a tenant, you have a responsibility. You see, make sure you have that tenancy agreement before you pay. And make sure you pay every month. Because if you don't pay every month, you can be sacked. And those gentlemen who will always be bringing different ladies into the house or into the room, someone can stand on it and say it's an immoral activity. It's subjective though, but I'm emotionally. Thank you so much. And until next week, please stay safe and know that God loves you. Bye.